Welcome to Between the Lines. It's Thursday night, May 2nd, and we're excited to be back in your homes tonight. Let me say this. We are on our 101st show, and we're going to follow up what we did on our 100th a little bit more. Got a lot of people feedback saying, let's talk some more about those issues with Sabra. So we're doing that. Big schedule in May. Next week, we have on Sean Williams, who is the president of Protective Services and one of the most knowledgeable people worldwide. He's going to come talk about Iraq and the case for Iraq and why it's so important that and among Republicans, 75% aren't for funding Iraq. Among Democrats, 80% are. So it's a good balance, a good thing to talk about. And he's probably, when you say one of the most expert people in the world on those issues. And Congressman Fleischman, for instance, is on the Committee for Foreign Acts or Foreign Affairs, and he basically is a big supporter, but he's got the intel to be. So we're going to look at that, and then John Reagan will be on later in the month to talk some more about some of the things we're talking about and the path ahead in Tennessee and how our financial status is and other things. It was a rocky session, to say the least, and we're going to look at those. We've got a bunch of shows lined up throughout May. I think we have 4 in a row coming, and we'll keep going, and we're back in the political season. We've got a few months break, but Tennesseans are going to be affected by a lot, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. Some of the things that I'm involved in, like the swing states. A lot of people ask me all the time, how does the race look? Who's going to win? Well, obviously nobody knows for sure, but there are 7 states that strategists are concerned about it, and we'll review some of those and talk about that. Welcome back, Sabra.
Thank you.
Sabra's back to talk about different things going on in the state, and we're going to talk about the legislature. We're going to talk about the presidential race, and we're going to start out with the presidential race and see what we think. What do you think? And I want to talk about Kennedy a little bit today, but not right now.
Okay.
In 10 minutes, we'll talk about Kennedy, how he impacts the race. And you're an expert on kind of voter behavior and people. You monitor, you do a lot of research. In fact, someone paid you a compliment last night about how much you research things. So we're going to talk a little bit about Kennedy. And is Kennedy a logical landing place for some people because they just are tired, and everything else? We'll come back to that right now. How do you think Donald Trump is doing? How do you think Joe Biden's doing?
Well, I think right now Donald Trump is tied up in this court hearing.
I don't understand it.
I think all Americans should be worried about it. I mean, if it can happen to him, how can you have a conspiracy when they haven't brought any other people in, and it's a conspiracy against himself? So
it's a hush money trial, though. Who did he pay? I haven't kept up.
Well, it's the Stormy Daniels and all that stuff, and back and forth. It depends on what side you listen to. Did he know that he was paying things like that? And
I guess are they trying to say that the hush money through different people added up to a conspiracy?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought it was a single person.
Yes, and his financial guy was the one handling everything, and they brought him on trial. So I think for the American people, depending upon what side you're on, I think everybody should be scared about it. If it can happen to him, it can happen to all of us. And the judicial system has to be fair and impartial. If it's not going to be, then none of us have a fair shot at anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I think this is wasting resources. I don't think this would ever be happening in Tennessee.
No.
We'll talk about it being in these liberal states to where it's popular to do something like that there.
Well, is this in New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really don't know where it's going to go. I mean, it's kind of odd. This is a weird presidential election. We're not seeing all the advertisement. We're not getting all the mailers. It's just a very odd presidential year because usually we're being flooded with just constant commercials and mailers.
It's a little early.
Well, I don't know. I think.
But Tennessee, the way people don't understand, Tennessee's a foregone conclusion. Trump's going to win Tennessee.
Absolutely.
So there's no reason to waste money here. So, and that's for the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm going to talk about the 7 swing states in a minute, but basically, I think you're going to see less and less activity like that as they pour their money into the 7 swing states. Actually, go to 16 if you want to talk about long-term chances. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of money going there, I think. But I just think I was around at 16 and 20. I polled. I had some activities. I just don't feel any energy. I don't think people are that excited.
Well, I don't think so either. And I mean,
either way.
I mean, this is something I said last week on the show. We got 2 old white men. I mean, I hate to put that out there, but they're both over 70, and it's just
75, both over 75.
Yeah, I mean,
big
it's
difference.
just
Big difference.
where are people energized? And you have to figure out where your energy comes from.
How important is the vice president pick for Trump? I think he needs a woman.
Oh, I think it's very important. And I mean, for me, I've said this to you probably 100 times. I'm a big fan of Kristi Noem up in South Dakota. I really like her a lot.
Not much equity. A lot of energy.
I know, but
a lot of energy,
I mean, if you're going to pick a woman, I think that she needs to be on the list. I think you have to do that.
Arizona's a swing state. Do we gain anything putting Lake on the list?
For me, you've already got Trump that's out here, picking up the fight, telling, he's not politically correct. He said that 1,000 times. Do we need to people that are not politically correct?
Well, I respect that about Donald. That's why I'm for Donald Trump.
I feel like it has to be a healthy balance. It's okay to come at somebody and be aggressive when you're through thoughts, but do you want both people being aggressive with their thoughts coming at you? You got to have somebody that's a little more balanced that can relate to those people that are in the middle.
But you're more of a issues cognitive type person, and you know me. I just don't believe they matter anymore outside the major issues. I think people are comfortable with you or they're not. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump makes people comfortable because he doesn't care. He will tell you the truth. He will go after people.
But he also makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
That's true.
I mean, when you look at the numbers, there is a lot of women out here that they're not going to vote for Trump. And we're talking about moderate Republican women. They're just not. Mean tweets, whatever it may be.
Well, you could argue. Now, I can argue that he won the race and it took stolen from him. But let's just say the vote, whatever it was, whatever happened, suburban women cost him a lot of votes in a lot of states.
Yes, I think.
But you can't have everybody.
Those people are not used to that kind of behavior, that kind of talk, and it kind of offends them a little bit. I'm not. It doesn't offend me. I mean, I'm one of those, I say, probably 10 times worse than what Donald Trump's ever said, so I just don't get offended.
I concur.
Yes. So I just don't get offended by that, and I like the truth. I tell you all the time, and doing this in politics, I come right out and I tell you, Alan, that person is full of it. Don't ask me to support that person. Right. I don't want no part of it. And then I'll also tell you, I got a good feeling about that person. Mm-hmm. So, But
in the words of Pontius Pilate, what is truth?
I get that. But I think people, they want to hear the truth. And I think for so long, politicians have just told people what they want to hear just for a pander for the vote. And then it comes out no promises. So,
and I use that analogy because he was a politician.
Yeah, well, being a fair assessment of Donald Trump, I think that he did do a lot of good things for the American people. And so I think he told the truth. I think our economy was really good until COVID hit. And, nobody expected that to happen. I don't think any presidential candidate could have been prepared for anything like that. In fairness, that's
a good point. He had to run during the COVID.
Yeah, so he was being attacked on every corner, and this was something new, and he
really cooperated.
Yeah, he took a lot of heat. What gets me is this, people coming at Donald Trump about COVID. He was listening to Fauci the whole time. He had him right there on every stage, so he was listening to him, and now everybody hates Fauci. Right. It don't matter what side you're on, you hate Fauci.
They dislike him.
Yeah. So I think people appreciated the truth. It was something different from Donald Trump. But also at the same time, I just think people aren't energized to vote for either one of them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just a lot of negativity.
And I don't think it's that Donald Trump's any different than he was. But let's be fair. He was 69 the first time. He's 77 or 76.
That has to be exhausting.
Yeah, and their schedule, and they've moderated it. It moderated his schedule. Now, on the other side of the coin, it's worse. It's worse. It's worse.
It is.
And I will say this. I think in the last 2 months, Joe Biden's been better. He's been to events more. He's talked more. I think they've saved up energy or something because he's done a little better job.
Yeah, something's happened. But at the same time, I've told you this 100 times, that Democrats should be ashamed of themselves. They got a whole slew of people that they could put out there. Hakeem Jeffries, a lot of popular Democrats, and they've got Joe Biden out here. And I consider it kind of elder abuse of what they're doing to him. I mean, it's kind of pitiful. I mean, he don't know.
You know, and I'm old enough that I remember when Joe Biden was a young senator from Delaware. He was a tough conservative guy, very pro-police, very tough. He didn't fit in your normal Democratic mold.
Well, I'll give him a lot of credit today. He came out and, all this stuff that's going on college campuses.
Yeah.
He told them there's no place. They're out here not letting Jews go into the classrooms, keeping them, building a line with themselves and not letting the Jews go in. And he said today, there's no place for that.
I don't want to know how they know they're Jewish. I mean, but anyway,
yeah.
The bottom line is that they came on Tennessee today. I hope Randy Boyd will do something start organizing.
Yeah, they started that yesterday. So
no, they won't get much pop.
And I've told you forever, I have no problem with peaceful protesting.
Sure.
That's how you get heard.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
the things that we have seen go on in this country for the last couple of years, where you're rioting and looting and you are costing people money, you're breaking into people's businesses, there is no place for that.
Let me say this: Israel yesterday, Israel today,
Absolutely.
Israel forever.
Absolutely.
And I mean that. I obviously I feel that as a Christian, and I understand my Bible. But even as the country, listen, they're situated in the middle of 7 or 8, 9 countries that do not like them. They get along well with Saudi Arabia. They get along. United Arab Emirates are very tolerant. But you get into the crux that are surrounding back. They're in survival mode 24/7 since 1948. So I was happy to see the Congress pass more aid to Israel, as they did also to the Ukraine and to Taiwan. I don't get the Taiwan fight. My dad taught there. He was a nuclear engineer.
Well, that's something that's been going on for years.
Yeah, as a kid, I grew up with it, and I mean, it's still, you got a big island sitting right off you, so it's interesting. I think they may fear any kind of, well, there's a saying, China can't attack us because we're their biggest customer. They own all our,
that is true.
They own it, they own the money, the bond, the debt, the bonds, and everything else. So that's part of it. Let's talk about Kennedy for a minute.
Okay.
He's interesting. Democrats call him nuts. Republicans call him a Democrat, and he's out here. But I think he's gained a little momentum this summer. This winter. I think he's up in the 5, 6, 7%. Not Ross Perot in '92, but he's still up there to the point where he will impact the election, and he knows how to pick a vice president.
That is true. I don't think he's going to get a significant amount of votes to impact anything, but I think he's going to be noticeable. I think that it's an option for people that don't like where the country is either way. They didn't like it under Trump, and they don't like it under Biden, so let's pick somebody else. So I think he's the alternative to that.
But he just needs 2% to swing Arizona or Michigan. I mean, he can get into the swing states, and his 3 or 4. Look, Ross Perot Clinton never gets elected if Ross Perot doesn't run. And he comes out again, right, in 2000. And George Bush, Ralph Nader came out. There's always been these independents that have swung stuff. And I think if he can get to 4 or 5% in the swing states, which we'll talk about those swing states, if he can get to 4 or 5%, I think with that vice president, he hurts the Democratic Party. I think he hurts Joe Biden.
And he may, but I don't think it's going to be anything like Ross Perot. I don't think it's
he was 16%.
I don't think it's going to be anything like that. And again, I remember that time frame. I was a lot younger then, and I remember my grandparents. They were like huge for Ross Perot because he was something different. Like he came out and he made people believe in something. And
he's factual. Here's the facts.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of in that time frame again, but I don't think Kennedy is going to get there. I just don't see that. I just think he's an option for people that don't want to vote for either Trump or Biden.
But my point being for the viewers is, in his time in '92, 32 years ago, he had an impact all over the country. He was a general populist, much like Trump, and he was a general populist. Kennedy doesn't have to do that. He has to do what Nader did. He has to go in and grab 3%. And then Trump wins by 1.5, and then you're in trouble. I mean, I think he's a real concern for Democrats in Michigan and places of that nature in Arizona. Does he pull votes from Republicans? A few. But Republicans basically stay within their own framework. That's their nature.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to take more votes from Democrats than Republicans. But those Republicans that are on the fence, that, moderate or whatever, they may vote for Kennedy as an option just to say, I didn't vote for Trump.
And Kennedy is somewhat like Perot in a different era and a different time. He comes out like he's not labeled by party. If you're a Democrat, COVID was the worst thing ever happened.
But in fairness, he was labeled as a party before this.
No,
And he
before
started,
COVID.
Yeah,
Before
he started
COVID.
coming out against the vaccines, and
That's
then
right.
his own party kind of shunned him.
Yeah.
So,
That's
in
right.
fairness, he was a Democrat.
But he still has Democratic views, but he wasn't afraid to come out against vaccines.
That's true.
And he's had family history.
And,
of that.
and that's what I was saying last week.
His aunt,
Sometimes you have to come out against your party.
That's right.
When they're doing, crazy stuff.
the only way you change it.
Somebody has to say, "Hey, no, I'm not on board with this crazy train. This ain't my train wreck station."
Well, and we talked last week, you and I disagreed, but and I've got since then, that night, all the legislation's come out. We'll talk about that in one of the segments, but it wasn't as bad as everybody made it out to be. Once you got past the videos and the hypes, the legislature did a lot of good things, and I just hope they can get their messaging down better in the future, but we'll see about that. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Like it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Get ready for the 19th annual Clinch River Spring Antique Festival, presented by Historic Downtown Clinton. Join us on May 3rd from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and May 4th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Market and Main Street in Clinton. Experience 2 days of fun with antiques, artisans, live music, delicious food, exciting demonstrations, and much more. Rain or shine, it's a can't-miss event for the whole family. Visit historicdowntownclinton.org. The 19th annual Clinch River Spring Antique Festival. See you there.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Thank you. This is Between the Lines as we return to talk more about federal issues, federal elections, state elections here before we start bringing on candidates through the summer. We got a lot going on. Let's talk about the swing states. There's 7 swing states that have been identified. Mm-hmm. You follow TikTok, Facebook, and all that stuff religiously,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you know about Arizona? Arizona's an interesting state. Remember last time they had voter problems?
Yeah.
They did. And Carrie Lake's out there, right?
Yes.
And she's controversial.
Yes.
Why is she controversial?
I don't know. I mean, I think I don't want to say that she's controversial. I just want to say that she's more outspoken. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that's not as perceived as well. And I get, same kind of thing called a me. Sometimes when you're a little bold in your statements, that's not perceived very well.
Is she a Trump supporter?
She is a big Trump supporter. Trump endorsed her. I think for Arizona now, I think they've got a bigger issue. At that time, it wasn't, we've got open borders. now.
Arizona, one of the targets. I know they come through a lot. Texas a lot.
So Arizona's part of that. It's extremely bad. Texas is really bad. So I think those two states right there are being overran right now with them coming through and
she's an
bypassing.
incumbent, right?
She's not elected. Carrie Lake was not elected
She
as
got
governor.
beaten last time.
Yes.
So she's coming back.
I think she will run again. Now, there's a lot of controversy around the woman that she ran against that actually got governor.
Sammy,
No, that's the woman in Congress.
Kristen.
Yeah. So
I thought Carrie Lake was running right now.
she may be running again. I know there was a lot of controversy with her, the opponent that she ran, and that one won. But she said she was coming back. So good for her if she does. You know me, I'm all about women running in politics. I think we don't have enough women.
She's an attractive woman. She's well spoken.
But I just want to say we want normal women. We don't want cuckoos.
Normal women, not cuckoos.
Yeah, like know the issues. You can't just go out here, and this is my thing, you can't go out here and talk about Trump and say, oh, I support President Trump, and you don't know anything about issues. You don't know anything about the Constitution. You don't know anything. You're just running piggyback off somebody's name. Don't do that.
I see that more. I have clients on all levels, but I see that more in moderates than conservatives.
I get really upset about it because when they don't know the issues, it just really bothers me because how can you make good votes and good decisions for your constituents when you're not out here really knowing what you're supposed to be voting on, what is right and what is wrong? I mean, that's just, you can't just piggyback off somebody's name.
And while we're on that subject, Lucas Heaton from Clinton.
Yes.
Is won a seat, and he is a
Trump delegate at large
to Milwaukee. Congratulations.
Yes.
And he really is vested in stuff. He studies hard. I give him a lot of credit.
Young
man,
Republican.
Is he,
He's the chairman of the Young Republicans. And
Very active.
Yeah.
Very supportive of you and you of him. I think that's a good thing. Okay. So anyway, we have 7 swing states. We have Arizona. Virginia's off the blue. It's blue, guys. It's going blue. Okay. Florida's going red. So we got to look at Michigan, Pennsylvania. We got to look at Arizona. We got some place in Nevada as a swing state.
Mm-hmm.
We're down to where 10 votes could matter.
Yeah.
Those are small areas. Pennsylvania is 19. People worry about counting the ballots. I think there's more security than there used to be. Do you see what do you study there?
Well, I never in Tennessee worry about election fraud in Tennessee. Now, I know on election night on the presidential, we were sitting there. And we were watching the numbers, and you were getting phone calls from people, and
all over the
van loads of boxes are being brought into these facilities.
Philadelphia.
So at that point, I don't know. Like, I feel so secure in our elections here. You have to show an ID. If you have a mail-in ballot, you've got to request it. I think Tennessee does an excellent job, and I think some of these other states could come down here and let us show them how to do it, because I think we're doing it right in Tennessee. I don't think there's one issue with any kind of
What's
thing.
wrong with showing a driver's license? I get that.
I don't either. I mean, if you're
a picture ID,
if you have to show a driver's license to get on an airplane, to get a passport, why would you not show an ID to vote?
Or if I don't have a driver's license for some, I can go get an ID.
Yeah,
I can get a photo ID.
it's insane to me to even think, because I think we have it so good here in Tennessee. And when you think about some of these other states, it's kind of like foreign countries almost, because it's just so crazy the way they do things.
Yeah.
I mean, they mail in a ballot to an apartment in New York, and it could be mailed 26 times because people could be getting mail-in ballots, and it's just going to the same apartment. And nobody lives there, and you could throw all 26 ballots in the mail, and they'd be counted. That is insane to me how that can even happen.
That's a New York situation, wasn't it?
It's a lot of laziness, too. I mean, these election registrars, they need to be
both sides have a lot on the line. I mean, and it's not beyond those people. We've heard, we won't say where we were at, but we were in a meeting where a Congress lady was quoted saying, I need more illegals in my district. I got to get more votes.
Absolutely, and that's
somewhere in the Northeast, but it was
that's crazy to me. I don't understand how we have just opened up our borders. I just don't. Whoever thought that was a good idea, it was crazy. I understand letting people come in here that need to seek refugee, that need to be here because they're trying to make a better life for their kid. But when the cartel is actually stealing kids to pose them as their own and leaving them across the border. And they're having to take care of these kids and can't even find the kids' parents, because in Mexico they do things totally different in other countries. They don't have Social Security cards and things like that. You've left a child out here. They can't even find their parents. We're having to take care of them because they brought them across the border and they just dump them there.
I don't think it's a Mexican problem.
No, well, I mean, the cartel is coming from Mexico.
We need the workers. I'm okay with that.
So
they should do it legally.
Do it legally. I've said, make those people pay taxes, make them legal. But we came out of COVID. Our country was shut down all across. I mean, it wasn't just here. It was everywhere. The American people were hurting. People have been laid off their jobs. It's just insanity to me how they could think, oh, well, let's just flood it with more people, not have any record of who they are. Let's not have any upkeep. We don't even know where a lot of these people are because we're not even keeping up with them. Hand them a phone and say, here, good luck.
I saw where
New York has them in a 5-star hotel. And I watched where the governor of New York said, if you don't stop messing with law enforcement, we're going to put you in a 4-star hotel.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, big deal.
Excuse me. I think, I just think that there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think there's a lot of, because of social media, a lot of spin both ways. And
they do.
And I just think that, I think they're scared. I've said for months and years on the show for a couple of years, there is a polarized culturing. We have the globalist, woke, whatever you want to call it. And it's not bad. I'm making it a definition of something.
It's bad.
Well, to you it is, but to half the country it's not. So there's this woke, globalist culture that's bringing new ideas, open to people. I'm presenting their platform, not mine, et cetera, et cetera. On the other side, we've got the traditional American, cowboys, Second Amendment rights, everything. Let's live a normal life. Let's hold on to our faith and our values and everything. And you got these two things that just keep stretching and stretching and stretching. And in order for this side, the globalists to survive, they need more immigration, illegal or any other way. And for this side, they need tougher laws and tougher rules. I don't see it getting any less challenging in the months and years ahead.
No, I think we're going to continue to be more divided. I think I think that's the way. I mean, it doesn't matter what news station you put on. It's just all division. And if you, I brought this up to my mom a couple of years ago, and I call her every morning, and she's watching the news, and I'm like, why are you watching the news? It's nothing but bad stuff. They never want to tell you good things that are happening in the world. They only want you to know the bad. They want you to know that we're about to go to war. They want you to know that China has brought a spy balloon over here and we've let it go halfway across the country without doing anything. They want to keep people in a panic for all kinds of things. So
I'm going to tell you what else worries me. Political work in Washington and Nashville, you have all of your elected representatives, but the real work goes on with committee members underneath.
Yes.
And these committee members tend to be late 20s to late 40s, and they rake in there and they do all this stuff. These people are not leveling out with the same values as people. Not bad or good, but just different values of people. And Washington, D.C. is a very international community in a good way. But I just don't know. I understand what the Tennessee legislature is doing. It's an overstep in a lot of ways, and it's perceived wrong. But they're part of that polarized band, and they're not going to let the globalists take over. My argument is that the two legislators from Memphis Nashville are not globalists. They're just holding on to their communities.
This is my thing. You got to be logical in that sense, and we know that they're not going to take over because we have a super majority. So what does it hurt to sit there and let them?
Wait a minute. But federal laws supersede state laws.
You're talking about the legislature.
Tennessee.
Yes.
I'm saying their emotion, not what they pass, but their emotions are based on the fact that they're having to deal with.
I understand that.
They watch the same
but
thing
as far as our stuff in Tennessee, we have a super majority. The Democrats down there are not going to get anything passed that the Republicans don't want to. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
True.
So why not just let them sit there and talk? And I've told you this, with me being a Republican, a big Republican, if you let the Democrats talk long enough, you're going to find out what they say. Actually, and I'm not trying to be mean about that, but they're always going to reveal the sneaky stuff behind it.
Yeah.
So then the American people don't see you as a racist or whatever because you cut their microphone off and won't let them speak.
Yeah.
Just let them speak. And then half of Tennessee is going to say, well, that was the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Sometimes you can just let them do the work for you, is what I say. You don't have to. You don't have to.
That's true on all sides.
Yeah, you don't have to continuously just have a war and a fight.
Republican legislators did a lot of work for them this year. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter because there's 70% voters are Republican.
And I mean,
I don't even worry about
I think it's a very different time. You know what we're going through. Whenever I was a kid, I've never seen the things that I see now. I mean, in Congress, that they put money through. For Ukraine, and I know Sean's going to come in here and talk about Iraq and Ukraine.
Not Iraq, Ukraine.
Yeah, well, you said Iraq. Sorry.
Did I really?
Yeah, but
I apologize.
I'm one of those.
I meant Israel. That's all right.
I understand the war with Russia, and I understand this, and I understand how Putin's trying to invade Ukraine. But at the same time, we have sent so much money over there right now. Before this vote, I'm just not for that. That's not my war right now. Why can't we sit at the table and see if we can negotiate something else? Why does it always have to be
That's Trump's attitude.
Yeah.
He wants to bring everybody to the table.
And that's what I say. Trump would have called up Putin and said, "Don't you move another step."
Well, let me phrase this. Let's take our home,
yeah.
Okay, and our yard,
yeah,
okay. And you go down the street, and we'll take a family down Orkney Road.
Mm-hmm.
They come into our yard and they take a third of your front yard, okay. But now let's sue for peace. Let them keep the third, and you take. It doesn't work that way. You're not going to give them 1 inch of your yard, right?
No, I'm not going to give them.
Okay, and neither is Ukraine.
But that's Ukraine.
Right.
We're the United States of America.
Yes.
And I can tell you, whenever we gave them money, I guess it was, 2 weeks ago that budget went through,
yes.
that money.
Yes.
When I seen members of the House holding up Ukraine flags.
Right.
We are in America. You better hold up American flags. I don't care what side you're on, what you want to do, even Israel. I'm not going to sit and hold their flag up. I stand for them. But we are in America. And America's being torn down right now by whatever you want to say it is. Either side, conservatives and their conspiracy theories, or woke crazy kids.
But on these extremes, there's a lot more woke people. Most of the people on the other extreme are moderate, home-owning, good people. The extremes on the right are less than the extremes on the left.
Yeah.
Not bad or good,
yeah.
but just there's not many of them.
And that's what I say. We got to
New York
quit.
has more people than Oklahoma.
We got to quit being so extreme on everything. Everything can't be extreme.
The die is cast. I don't see it.
I know. I think we've went so backwards in this country, but just people
War,
get
revolution. Who knows?
Stop getting offended. Chad says that the favorite line I say to him all the time is, "Don't get your feelings hurt." Like, I say that all the time.
Right.
And people just need to stop. Don't get mad because somebody disagrees with you. No one person is going to be the same. No 10 people are going to be the same. Everybody has the right to their opinion, but you don't have to scream and yell about it. You don't have to sit and fight about it. We don't have to fight about people wanting to wear whatever they want to wear, blue hair, red hair, whatever. Don't fight about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been one of those, you don't pay my bills. I don't want to pay your bills.
I got you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do pay my bills,
Yeah,
but
kinda.
I mean,
some
yeah.
you pay them too.
But do what you want to do. Whatever you want to do in your house, do it. But why do we have to make it this big, long month of everything? I mean, we got a month for everything in this country now.
I agree with that too.
And I think it's just silliness.
It's taken off. We're not
silliness.
Americans. We're everything else. We're going to go to break here, and I want to say beforehand, Chad's a peacemaker, and he's been that way ever since first grade when he lost a dodgeball fight.
Oh.
So sadly, a third grade girl hit him with the ball, and he's never been the same since. No confrontation at all. We'll be back.
Oh.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was playing man in foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
To watch Alex take on this mountain, that's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done, and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Get ready for the 19th annual Clinch River Spring Antique Festival, presented by historic downtown Clinton. Join us on May 3rd from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and May 4th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Market and Main Street in Clinton. Experience 2 days of fun with antiques, artisans, live music, delicious food, exciting demonstrations, and much more. Rain or shine, it's a can't-miss event for the whole family. Visit historicdowntownclinton.org. The 19th annual Clinch River Spring Antique Festival. See you there.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're talking about all kinds of policies across the country and in the state. One thing that's been, well, probably a little more controversial a year or two ago, but still very controversial, is the whole transgender, transsexual movement within schools. And remember, bathrooms was a big issue. I never saw anything come in the bathrooms. I've never been in a place where the schools or something where they have unisexual type bathrooms. I think Tennessee's rejected all that.
Yes, Tennessee put that in, and their schools have to abide by that you have to use the bathroom of your birth, what's on your birth certificate.
Thank you, Tennessee legislature.
Yes,
now,
they did do good on that.
I get good on that one. All right, tell us what's going on with trans. What is the story behind all this? What are the rules? What are the regulations? Tell us where we're at.
Well, I think now, Tennessee had banned the transgender surgeries for minors, so I think that's going to become a lawsuit. I think the Tennessee Attorney General is going to have to deal with that, take it probably all the way to the Supreme Court.
Is that even with parental consent?
Even with parental consent, they can't have any kind of surgeries altering what their birth is on their birth certificate. So, and I'm not opposed to that. I think if a child identifies whatever you want to, I'm one of those. I'm not going to fault you for it. I'm not going to down you for it. I mean, I've got people that I deal with in my job that are transgender. I don't treat them any other way than, who they are. If they're a good person, I'm going to treat them as a good person. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. But I do not think that children should be modifying anything until their brains aren't fully developed, and they're very confused, and you got hormones, and you got this, and you got that, and I think this day and age, children are very confused anyway. I think, we didn't have social media. We actually had to talk to people and have a communication with people that these kids don't. Like, their communication is a cell phone. That's how they communicate.
Everything.
Yeah, so I think life is very difficult for them. So I'm really not opposed to that bill, and I think once you turn 18, if you want to decide that is the route that you want to take, you pay for it. I don't want to pay for it. There's a lot of things I don't want my tax dollars
Say
paying
that again.
for.
So
I don't want to pay for their.
You talking about minors or adults?
Either or. I don't want to pay for either one.
But you know,
but if they decide that that's something that they want to do, then do it. But don't ask me to pay for it.
But Mr. Johnson decides, his son Billy decides he wants the surgery. You're okay if that 15-year-old has that surgery?
No, I don't want any minors having surgery because I think that their brains are not fully developed
Well, you just
yet.
said just do it, minors and adults.
No, I'm talking about us paying for any of it. If it comes back that the Tennessee Attorney General says that the Supreme Court said they have the right to any kind of surgery they want.
Right, I got you.
So, but I don't want to pay for it.
What's the cost of a surgery? Got to be $15,000-$20,000.
I would say reconstructive surgery on lots of things would be enormous.
Yeah.
I just would.
Now, some states, they pay for that.
I'm sure they do. I don't want to pay for it.
How does it impact the jail? You're a jail expert. How does it impact
the jails are going to identify them as what is on their birth certificate. Now, they may have to separate them from other...
For behavioral reasons.
Yeah, so they don't get assaulted or something like that.
Put them in solitary.
Yeah, but they have to identify them as what is on their birth certificate.
Our jail does a great job of classifying.
They do, and we don't have to deal with a lot of it, but it's becoming a more common thing. But at the same time, if that's what you want to do, you do it. Just don't shove it down our throats, is what I'm saying. Just do what you want to do. Don't ask me to pay for it. Don't ask me to be on board with it. Don't ask me to say that I think that a child should have reconstructive surgery on...
It's disgusting to me.
Yeah, I just feel
16, 17, you maybe, but
I don't even think that.
We had a neighbor, no names, no problem. We had a neighbor, remember? 11 or 12 years old, started dressing girls and everything, wanted to reconstruct her, did a lot of that stuff. But my understanding is, in the end, turned out to be a boy and went on about his business when he got older.
And that's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot of confusion. I think there's so many social media groups that kind of hype that up, and I've read that about a lot of kids that are now adults, and they had went through that transition, took the hormones and took the testosterone, and then realized in life that was not what they needed to do, and now they've had a lot of downsides.
Emotional depression.
Yeah, from it. But one of them had an interesting comment, and she said, I was so outcasted in school and so depressed that I went to these sites and they just embraced me. And whenever I came out to them, they embraced me, and I felt so loved and overjoyed. So I think that's a lot of it, because it seems to be a hot topic right now, and people are popular on that. I'm one of those, don't let people alter you. I've never done that. I'm one of those, I don't care if people like me or not. You know that. And you either do or you don't. And you shouldn't be wanting just self-gratification from people all the time. And just be you. Be happy with yourself. So I'm not for that. I'm not for paying for abortions. I understand abortion in some certain circumstances. I'm not completely crazy on that, but I'm big pro-life. But I feel like there is some things that could hurt the mother's life or things like that that they may need to do that.
Always growing up for me, it was rape, incest, and the mother's life.
Yeah, so
all those were.
And I think Tennessee's kind of pushed that a little bit too hard, because some of these women needed medical surgeries.
DNCs.
Yeah, and couldn't get it. And you've actually got a woman that's running for representative. She actually had that issue, so she's running. I can't remember what city she's from, what county she's from in Tennessee, but that's our big issue.
Well, you've had gynecologists come to commission and other places saying, look,
Dr. Peters,
I wasn't going to use the name, but I'm pro-life. I'm for this, I'm for that, but you've got to give us some leeway in here. Yeah. And he was exactly right.
And they have altered it some. They have listened to some of the doctors and kind of altered it. Senator Briggs, he's a doctor, and he's kind of, brought them down a path of where they have to start understanding certain medical needs.
But you see what's going on, in my opinion, is you're telling teachers what books to read. You're telling doctors when and when they can do certain things, and it's just getting a little bit of an overreach in every area.
Yeah, these people have degrees. It's their profession.
That's right.
They're the professional.
Yeah, I agree with limiting it, but I don't agree.
Me as a county commissioner, I'm not the professional. I'm just elected by the people to listen to the people and vote the way they want me to vote. Now, I have my morals and my values, but you've got to listen to the professional people. You've got to listen to your teachers, your doctors, your construction workers, the store workers. You got to listen to everybody in the profession that they know, because we don't know everything. We're not in those worlds.
That's right.
And I think you got to be respectful of those things to say, hey, you went to college, you're a teacher, I'm going to let you teach. Mm-hmm. I mean, have a day where you go to the schools and, you've got Cameron Sexton and Bill Lee, a year ago, they come through on their big bus tour.
I remember that.
Go to the freaking schools and talk to your teachers and see what they want.
Yeah.
Instead of doing your bus tours to Buc-ee's.
That was a campaign issue.
It don't matter. Do the right thing. It don't matter. Do the right thing. If you
do
want
certain things and you can't. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Now you're gonna cut me off because you don't like what I'm saying. But
no, I thought you were through.
No, I'm just saying that you've got to go out here and you've got to talk to the people that are doing these jobs. Don't just say, oh, nope, there's no wiggle room. This is it. This is how it's going to be.
I agree with that.
Because there always has to be some kind of wiggle room.
And that's why your legislature is supposed to be, because they get to go to those schools, right?
Yeah.
I got clients who are in schools yesterday. But the question comes down to, they got to check off with the governor and make it done. But and I know, and I'm in this side of the business, a lot of horse trading going on up there.
Yeah.
A lot of horse trading.
Yes. I mean, I'll vote on this bill if you'll vote on this. And I'm sitting over here in county commission, we can't even talk about stuff. Until we get in the room.
Before we take our last break, explain to people. I'll explain it because in the U.S. Congress, I don't think U.S. is bound either. In the U.S. Congress, I know in our area, and I believe the feds have the same rules, but I'm not sure. You've heard the Sunshine Law. You can't meet in secret and make decisions pending for citizens, especially funding decisions, without the public having access to the meeting and getting in. That's not true in state government. In state government, there is no sunshine law. They can meet and do what they want to do. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like term limits. They want to enforce them on other people, but they don't.
Let's go ahead and get on term limits. Thank you for that.
Okay.
That's the one thing that drives me insane. I ain't going to throw them out here, but we got our little PAC group that likes to send out their flyers with a lot of these representatives.
You can put them on there. It's okay. You can put them on there.
And they do it in all the districts.
That's right.
And it says, this person stands with congressional term limits.
For federal officials.
Yes. Are you kidding me?
They don't imply themselves.
They don't imply themselves. I mean, I'll throw it out here. I've got a representative that's been down in Nashville longer than I've been alive, and I'm almost 44 years old, so that tells you something. If you're going to be for term limits, don't be hypocritical. Say, I'm going to the House. I'm done. I believe in term limits. Now, I do not believe in term limits. I believe that your constituents, if they like you, they will continue to vote you in. Now, everybody says, well, money's involved in this, that, and the other. Well, you continue to vote for them, too. If you believe in term limits, why do you keep voting for these people over and over again?
My expertise is in campaigning, and my expertise is in issues in public relations. Let me say this. I don't care how much money you have. Nothing stops you from putting on a pair of slacks and a dress shirt and knocking on every door in your district.
Absolutely.
Do you want to do the work? Money's a big deal. I mean, I take money, I do mail, I do other, but door knocking's hard to stop. If you knock on everybody's door,
grassroots campaign.
They can't do that in a governor's race, probably not in a state senate race, but House districts, school boards, city councils, mayor's races, you can knock on every door.
And I think we've seen a turnaround from that because when, with us running campaigns, mail and text and things like that were the thing to do. People didn't want to be bothered. Since COVID, I have seen a rise in people wanting people to knock on their door and actually carry on a conversation and ask for their vote. I mean, we've had 2 races so far that both of them did that, and they won overwhelmingly because they were out here and people were just so glad to see them. I think it's been a huge turnaround of grassroots campaigns, but don't go out here and say that you're for term limits and then pull a petition and run again. I do not like that. I put it on the record. I'm not for term limits. I think when the people get tired of you, and we've seen it, when they get tired of you, they will vote you out. And I just don't like that. I think it's very hypocritical when you throw that out there and say, I'm for term limits, but then you keep pulling a petition and running. I don't like that.
Well said. Last break. Let's go, Chandler.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Like it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Get ready for the 19th annual Clinch River Spring Antique Festival, presented by historic downtown Clinton. Join us on May 3rd from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and May 4th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Market and Main Street in Clinton. Experience 2 days of fun with antiques, artisans, live music, delicious food, exciting demonstrations, and much more. Rain or shine, it's a can't-miss event for the whole family. Visit historicdowntownclinton.org. The 19th annual Clinch River Spring Antique Festival. See you there.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
We got about 7 minutes left. It goes fast on these issue shows. And I'm talking with Sabra Beauchamp about a number of issues facing the state and federal government. Does a lot of research, 4 or 5 hours a day. It's like a second job for her. We
third job.
Praise.
Sorry.
That's correct. I forgot about commission. We have, let me see how I want to put this exactly. We have a lot of issues that impact us on every level. One of those is health care. I want to give credit to the state legislature for passing some expansion for disability people in several areas, and access to 10 care of your employee, access to other issues. That's something that was needed. Also, they get a bad rap for being pro-gun, which is a good thing to me, but overdoing it. And they passed a law saying if you're under 25 and you have committed any kind of violent attack, you can't own a handgun until you're 25 years old. You could be prohibited, which is a good law. I think there's a lot of good laws in here. It got more money for the state educators in different capacities, and they did a lot of good. The cost of health care, you've had long-term COVID.
I have.
You have been hit by it. But as a general rule for people in all ages, what are you seeing on health care costs? You read a lot about that.
I think it's a lot right now. I mean, during COVID, if you need a COVID test, you could go get one free of cost. If you needed to be hospitalized, it was free of cost. Now we've went past that mark. So if you go in the hospital now because of COVID, you're responsible for it. If you have long COVID, you're responsible for it. So I know last year, with what's been going on with my brain, we've had to pay out a lot of medical costs just because the insurance company's like, whoa, what's going on? I've had 3 different neurologists, each one of them order different tests. And I don't think I really paid attention to health care, the cost of everything, because I didn't go to the doctor often. I mean, I was never, I'd get regular blood work drawn or something like that, or get a cold and need to go to the doctor and get antibiotics. But I never paid attention to healthcare costs until my healthcare went crazy. And, the last 2 years, it's about every 2 weeks I'm in the doctor's office, new tests, new blood work, trying to see if it's this or that. And I've realized how expensive healthcare really is. So now I'm on the healthcare can't be free. I don't like that idea of everybody gets the same kind of healthcare, but people should have the right to medical care, and it should be affordable. I think we're in 2024, and I think when an MRI costs you almost $2,100, there's something wrong.
In 1981, I've always been big on socialized health care. Not free, but some help, some subsidies. And, me and Chuck and others get involved in that. You remember the story? I went up to Washington a few years ago. I had a few legislators around me. And the big issue was health care. It was in the Obama health care announcements, late teens. And I said, look, you got to answer a simple question first. I agree with you. My sister helped write the TennCare bill with Dr. Caldwell. I agree with you on a lot of what you're saying and cost and everything. But the question is, you've got to ask yourself a question. What's wrong with people having health care?
Yeah.
Everybody, especially children. And then work back. You can't start out here and work this way.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves, you take your neighbor to the hospital, everybody deserves health care. We've got to figure out a way to do it better, and we need to keep working it. And our system's the best in the world.
Well, it's one of those things when people are allowed to get rich off something, then they're not going to allow the price to come down because they want to keep getting richer.
Tell me about pharmaceuticals. What do you read? It's bad, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's kind of scary because a lot of medicines we're having a shortage on. And I'm like, why are we having a shortage in medicine?
Chinese.
So I worry about those kind of things. But, there's some countries where you can just go up and if you need penicillin, you can just go and pay for it out of pocket. So why do we have to go pay a $25 copayment to go see the doctor to see if we've got a cold when we're coughing our heads off and snotty nose and we need medicine, that we can't just go buy it ourselves?
Right.
So you want us to pay the $25, maybe do a chest x-ray to see if we got pneumonia or not, when we just need a few antibiotics pills and get through it.
You went to the hospital a couple, 3 weeks ago. Basically, I've got the bill, and the insurance did pretty fair. I mean, they did, I think it was $2,400 for the visit.
Yeah.
And $800, we got stuck with $800, and that's because I have good insurance.
Yeah.
But the question still comes back to...
But I worry about the people that don't have good insurance.
Yeah,
like at this point, with me, I know how much that we have paid out in my medical, and we're not done yet.
And let me say before I forget, and that's why Billy in the free medical clinic does a fantastic job.
Like I've sent a lot of people there.
Make your donations.
A lot of people that I deal with in my work, I've asked them to go to the free medical clinic, and they have been treated wonderfully. So I appreciate Billy and them. They've done a great job. But we got to have more, and we need to help those kind of organizations. I try to help the free medical clinic every time they have some kind of fundraiser. One, because I have realized what healthcare has been. I mean, I think if you're not using your insurance or needing to go to the doctor, you don't really pay attention to it. But then when you do, you're like, oh my God. And lucky for us, we've got a two-person income, and we're able to afford that. But I think about the little old people that can't afford it, or the child that needs medicine and can't. So I think that needs to be a solution. I think that we've got to get to the drawing board and talk about it. I don't think the Affordable Care Act, I don't think that was a legit thing. I had so many people tell me it was the worst insurance they'd ever had in their life, that it was better for them to pay it out of pocket. So I think as common sense government, we've got to sit down and have better conversations about health care, lowering the cost of stuff. Prescription medicine shouldn't cost what it costs.
No.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, when you're a senior and you got $1,200 a month in income between Social Security and maybe a little bit extra, you got to choose between medicines and
food and your electric bill.
Which reminds me, at St. Mary's in Oak Ridge, St. Joseph's Food Pantry, Wednesday mornings 10 to 12, get down there, they sign up, they have free food boxes and other things that can help you. So ask for Mary Ann, get it done. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I just want to say,
you know how I am, babe.
Yeah, I think we've got to start looking into things like that. And one thing I think people need to start doing better in their community, start caring about your community, and start helping out in your community.
Well, we got about 20 seconds left, and I just want to say, I just want to remind Chad that I really, really love Chad, and I want to, and that's all I got to say.
I love you, Chad.
He's the best.
And I want to say congratulations to our son Caleb for getting accepted
University
into
of Tennessee,
UT.
College of
Great
Business.
sons, and we appreciate
Happy birthday, Paige.
Yes, Paige.
Today.
Yes.
Yeah,
See
that's
ya.
it. Thank you for watching.